Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here today. We're really excited to present to you this event, this workshop, this talk that we've organized regarding the European project Open School for Village Hosts, which is a project that we've been working on for 2 years, and now it's in its closing time. So this event is an opportunity to present the results of this project, but also to connect it with different projects here in Elisava and everywhere else, and to see the connections and see what rural innovation looks like from the design perspective. So, well, this is some of the team that we'll present today, and we'll start with the project results, so you can learn a bit about the project, and then we will continue with the event. So I hope you enjoy it. You can ask whichever many questions you have during the event, and we will be here to assist you. So thank you very much. So the first part, as I've said, is the Open School for Village Hosts, which is the main project. And here to present is Massimo Menichinelli, one of our project participants.
Thank you. I'm Massimo Menichinelli. I'm an associate professor here in Elisava and director of Elisava Research. We present most of the project, at least the part of the projects. And I also will present something else later. Then we will have more the part about experts, practitioners. But first we present a bit about the project. We are also recording the screen, so hopefully if it's recorded well, we will publish later so you can watch and feel free to ask any question. So then, well, we work at several people in the past 2 years. Ivan Pat, who will speak later, also professor here in Elisava. Denise Spirito, who's a PhD candidate at the University of Florence and came here as a visiting researcher. So for 6 months helped us working on this. Lizondo, who you already met. Sergi Bogognari, also already met him at the entrance. At the beginning also we had Arede and Alberto Ster that worked on the project a couple of months. And we work from Elisava, okay? But this is a European project. So first we will see a bit more or less all the details of the things that are part of this project, what we did. So first, what is this Open School for Village Hosts? You know, what is a village host? Who is a village host? What are the competencies and skills for being a village host? The training program that we did, a toolbox that we did for village hosts, the platform, handbook, manifesto that we're doing for village hosts. So first is, what is Open School for Village Hosts? So again, the focus is working on villages, especially in remote rural areas. So in the kind of places that typically they don't get a lot of attention and a lot of support, unfortunately. And then, of course, increasingly they are losing people because they're moving towards cities, because they're looking for new jobs. Increasingly, they have issues with infrastructure that they have to be kept. And there are always a lot of issues. They are far away from services, from hospitals, and other places like this. So it's a bit tricky to find a way to support them. And with this project, we actually wanted to support them. We hope it's a tiny contribution, but it helps in that direction. What is it? This is an Erasmus Plus project, it's a European project, okay? And it lasted 2 years. So actually, this is more or less the last month because we're in December. So it was 22, 23. And what we want to work was really starting understanding what are the village hosts and which kind of competencies and skills they need to do their work and their activities and their initiatives. We did a pilot training program online, but also in place with 40 participants, 40 village hosts from all over Europe. We developed a manifesto for village hosts, and we built a collaborative platform for creating content, storing stories about the village hosts, creating new tools, and supporting in becoming a community. So we were one of the partners. This is led by Casanetro, which is a rural co-working in southern Italy. We have also Materab, as Olis, which is a summer school in Hungary. This is a center for social entrepreneurship in Serbia. Kobiety Roz, which is an association, civic association in Poland. Radoza Parta Libra, which is an association in Latvia. And we also had the participation of John Tucker as special advisor, so he also helped us and supported this. And this is when we started the project 3 years ago. More people actually participated, but as you see at the beginning, so there are actually a lot of people that got involved in this in the last 2 years. But first is, what does it mean being a village host? Who is a village host? So it's a kind of figure, profile, kind of role of work, if you want, people, in different ways that work between two different kind of crises. Crisis in urban settings and crisis in rural settings, and which means that a lot of people, for example, then from urban settings, from cities, they move to rural context to start new activities, to improve localities, whatever it is. People from the rural context, and maybe they moved to cities, but now they came back. And this could be something that happened because of the pandemic, but it was also happening before. So increasingly, you have more people that they try to go back to rural areas. And it's a mix of trying to solve two different crises, to different places at the same time. Lack of opportunities and satisfaction in cities, but also lack of services and infrastructure and opportunities in rural areas. And we are trying to help them. Because in the end, village hosts are people that they connect these two, because it's about really people that host people in the rural settings, so mostly they're coming from cities. But it's a different kind of hosting, different kind of tourism. It's not just typical tourists, but it's a tourist that want to have a social impact. So normally we say that village hosts are in social innovation initiatives. They try to experiment with new economic models and also social models by connecting rural areas, remote rural areas, with other networks, with other cities, with other places. Okay? This is something that in Design for Social Innovation we have experimented for already in 15 years, or almost 20 years actually. But this is more, it's not now something that is just we doing research. There are more people doing it. It started to be a global community, this European community, hopefully a movement. We hopefully would like to support it as a movement. So it's a way for supporting this. And instead of being just, from the cities going there, it's also the rural settings themselves that are also activated for this. So one way for seeing is tourism or services, hospitality services that they're hosting people in local rural areas, not just for doing tourism, but also for having a social impact. Another way for seeing this is like, let's say that we have initiatives that want to have social impact in rural areas. If you go to remote areas, you kind of go and come back in the same day and having a long-lasting impact. So you need to stay there for a while, at least for 1 or 2 nights. So that's why it's important to have this aspect of hosting. It seems that we're talking about only tourism. No, it's about something really, fundamental of working with the settings. So normally these are people based in the community. They really have this strong role also in connecting the local community with international or also national or other actors that are far away, and putting people in contact, finding the record sources and creating projects. And there could be a lot of different types of initiatives. So at least we mapped this, but there could be even more. You could probably also create new ones. So it could be co-living spaces, co-working spaces. Sometimes it's both together. Artistic residencies, maker spaces, co-farming, ecotourism, sustainable rural development initiatives, and more. Which means it's a lot of spaces that basically are hosting people for a while, for creating something new or creating something new with the localities, but always with the social impact. You have a lot of this happening. They're not always village hosts, because maybe they don't want to have a social impact. We have a lot of active residencies that really don't have a social impact in the rural area. So now the focus is really also doing that. But we also are collecting examples of village hosts, because this idea that's based on people that we have met through the years. It's mainly this idea comes from John Tucker, who is also now a village host. For this, he moved to a rural area in southern France, so he has met a lot of these people. And so we are seeing really in different kind of places, from Italy, from Serbia, and each of them with their own stories. In our website, we have collecting them so you can see more in depth what they're doing, their personal story, and how they're working with the local community. And I said, now it's a lot of people. We are starting to put them in contact. Hopefully become a community and hopefully also movement. So what is the difference? Let's say, now we have a lot of initiatives that actually didn't know that there was this thing happening. They were doing something like this, but they had no idea there were other people doing this. So the first step was to put them together, create a community. And for example, what usually happen in community, we can see it as a circle. When you start to see at the beginning, there is a community, you're at the periphery, and the more and more you get engaged, you get to the center. And typically we know in communities really like the small 10% at the center that do a lot of things. So it's a good way also when people start to do something, an initiative, they get to know community and slowly they get to the center. And this will be already one big step that we already started actually in the last year. You will see pictures of the community. But now also what we are trying to do is try to find a way, creating spaces, giving them tools to align in their discussions. So discussing together how to move in the same directions. And that will be a movement. So that's another way for having impact, not just locally, but also at least at European level, if not more globally. So how do we do this? As an Erasmus project, we basically focus more on the education aspect, so how to support and empower people in becoming village hosts. So what are the skills and competencies they needed? Okay. And how did we start? Well, first we listened to village hosts. So this is a focus group that we did, but also the other partner did focus group. And actually, in our case, it was supposed to be only Spain, but actually we have people in Spain, in Austria, in Portugal, and we'll be discussing together, based on their experience, based on what they do, what they have that is important, and what do they need? What do you think they will need to learn a bit more? And based on this, we elaborated, a full framework. You can download from the website. So we have these competence sections. And actually something that's been translated. So here you see only 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Hungarian, but there are many more languages. I mean, at least one for each country where we are based in terms of partners. And there are 5 areas, visioning and mapping opportunities, also mapping actors and resources, storytelling of the place, creating prototypes of services and organizing activities, and creating cooperation platforms, creating new business models. So these are the main 5 areas, but then of course, each of them, they have specific details. So for example, we connected to the design process because even most of village hosts, they are not formally trained in design, they're actually doing a design. That's the design process. So we're creating, supporting on that. For example, for the define part of the process, we have the idea of vision and mapping opportunities and mapping actors and resources, several competencies. What are the competencies according to you, international competency mapping, and what are the learning outcomes? And it's even longer. So we have also the design, the deliver phase. So you see all of these 5 areas, they are part of this in the process. So wherever you are in the design process, you can find what are the contents and training that we did that can support you in that. So we did a training program. First was online. So we created online program. So you will see something here. And for all of this competence framework, we created a model. So it's really based on the framework itself. So you can also choose which one. And we had a online session. We selected 40 participants all over Europe, at this online training. So the training was a pilot training. So the first time, maybe we'll do again in the future, but at least it's done. The good thing that we recorded the classes. So if you go on our YouTube, you can at least rewatch them. There were some interactive sessions using Miro and other tools. So it's not exactly the same, but at least you can rewatch everything whenever you want. And then we did 1 full week of training in Rotole. And this is a small town and rural remote area of southern Italy, which is the coordinator where it's based. So it was basically the idea of meeting all these people from all over Europe. We had several sessions, more training. There were 20 of the 40 people selected. So we had a full week discussing things. We went and visited the small town to see what are the issues, what is the state. We went and worked together with craftsmen too. It's also part of tourism, and also trying to engage with them. It's a village host is kind of figure that mix different communities. So it's really a day of getting to know very different cultures. And you see a village also was very happy because she was already working with ceramics, and finally she was able to work with a professional, in a small town. It was a very nice session. Learning also from different generations, different countries. And we visited really all the different also practice and tradition. Yes, there is wine in that cave, it's how it's traditionally made, but it's also why it's called grotto, which means cave, small caves. We also have a final event. We asked the villagers to create a final event, cooking and creating a party for the town people, for people really to engage. Because otherwise, you will be only asked going to a small town with youth funding and not interacting with the locals. So that was important to do also a bit of this. So this is just tiny pictures of the results, but you see, it wasn't just theory. It was a lot of listening to them, understanding from their stories and how to support. It's not something that you can create a clear cut, ready-made model, but you have to listen to each of them. Yes, we did tourism too. As you see, we are just also getting to know the local architecture and the local food. We also tried to save cats. It didn't work. The cat was really comfortable there, but it was this test too. And then also try to understand also really how to and see also the really existing initiatives for welcoming tourists and many kids. This is an art installation in the train station, but it's not a common thing that you will find in a rural area, and in Italy or probably in other countries too. So it was also useful to see really how they're already doing in that area. And in our training, we also developed a toolbox, because it's something that we already did in the past. They worked some years ago, and they realized, yeah, we were supposed to explain, co-design and co-creation, tailor it to this context. So what we did is say, okay, let's create a toolbox, because probably it's easier to just, talking. And Elena, will you explain this?
Yes, of course. So, well, as Massimo said, we had the online training, and inside the online training, we had the 5 competence areas, and one of them is the mapping of factors and resources, for which we thought that co-designing and co-creation could be a really useful tool. So for that, we needed this toolbox, but we didn't want to create a toolbox from the ground up, because there are already existing resources, and so we wanted to connect the practitioners to other existing resources. So this other project is called Co-Design for Society in Innovation and Science. It's another European project in which Massimo took part, and they already had developed a toolbox that was for policy making. So we took that existing toolbox, and we took it from the policy making context to the village hosts context to create the Open School for Village Hosts co-design toolbox for village hosts, which is a really long name to say that it's this tool for them to co-design their own initiatives. And this is the toolbox you had in your welcome packs, so you can see it later with more details. So we did the first iteration of the toolbox, and we put it into practice in the online training, and it was really useful for them. They told us that it was a really useful tool, but they asked for an example of application, because they wanted to see how the toolbox could work. So we kind of made up this initiative, which is rooted in like a rural home in Navarra, which is where I'm from. So my family has a big rural home there in a very little village, and we imagined this place of encounter between the local literature and the local dairy products, because that's one of the main economies there. And to further imagine it, we used the AI tool Stable Diffusion to kind of imagine this place. So we could use the toolbox, which you will see after that. But before, this is the toolbox. So it has a lot of canvases. to create each part of each phase of the project. So the first one is the co-designing village host initiatives. So for that, the first thing you need to know is the village where you are going to design your initiative. So to know your village, you have this canvas where you can see the culture and society, production and agriculture, etc. And you always have the plus and the minus to put there everything you have and you can use and everything that is missing and you can try to put there or well, just for you to know where is missing and what is not. So this canvas would be like on a wall with all the other canvases, and every person of the village could go there and just add to the canvas. So the second part, once you know how the village is, you need to know how your hosting initiative will be. So you need to know what activities you are going to do, what partners you are going to have, etc. And it's about co-designing this. So you're not alone at home just imagining everything, but trying to get the input of every stakeholder. And then every canvas has its discussion canvas, which is this canvas that is used to discuss everything that you put into the other canvas. So this is like a chat room, but in real life, and everyone can comment. You can put your name or not, and the comments can keep coming, and you can adapt. We will see a picture. So here, this is how you would put it on the wall. And well, this is the stakeholders canvas to know who is going to be in the staff, in the provider, the partners, etc. And then the process of the co-design. So you have 4 phases, which are the analyzing the context, reframing the problem, envisioning alternatives, and prototyping and experimenting. And every phase you can put one other canvas, which is the phase canvas. Here you can see, you can organize the activities you are going to do in phase 1. So for example, the kickoff meeting of your project would be an activity that you would put in the phase 1. And then each phase has 4 activities, for example, and each activity gets its own canvas. And at the end, you have the process canvas, which is very useful to time your activities, your phases, and everything you're going to do. So this is an example of how you would put it on a wall. So you have the stakeholders map and its discussion, and then each phase and each activity under the phases. And we will do this in the village beer part of the workshop, where we will put one of these toolboxes on the Sala de Estudiantes, and you can take part on. As Massimo said, we also developed a platform for the village hosts to present the platform and give the word to Ivan.
Let me know if I talk too much and I stop. So, the platform, basically for the platform, first to build it, it was really important to talk with the people and to see who is going to be the actual users of the platform. No? What tools do they have? We found, for example, that in some places like rural villages, people tend to do not have computers with really new software. So maybe they move rather with their cell phones. No? So through all this design process, we have been learning different things. So more or less, I'm going to show just 3 or 4 features of the platform. We invite you, you can create an account and quickly explore all the features. You can talk with people, especially if you are interested in designing with and for and together, etc., with rural areas, like these kind of initiatives. We invite you to walk through the platform, and you can create easily a user, and I will show you a key code. But for example, we already see that we can just go to the stories and These are the stories that Massimo was showing. So first, we found that everyone wants to share their story, no? To say who they are, to say what they do, to say where they are, for example. So we also created a map where people can show what they do, what type of village host they are, and they can actually place themselves and visualize themselves in the map. So we created, and all these features of the platform were actual discussions with the people, with the different partners, and they were saying like, hey, it would be really nice to have a map, no? To be able to visualize and to be able that if you are visiting or if you are traveling, knowing that there is a special place where you can go and why they do, and also be able to share information. So for example, here, there are different tools. Let me go back here. So for example, we have the stories, we have the community, we have the map where we can add yourself. You can add yourself as a village host. You can also go to a forum. And a forum is really important because it's a space where people discuss specific subjects, but the information remains there. So other people can come back, read again, follow the comments in the forum, and learn from that, or also ask for help for specific things. So for example, in the forums, there are different subjects to discuss. One of them was my project, my vision, and what is the mission that I have. And this is one of the trainees, I think is the right word in English, that was actually explaining, for example, this project is they are still brainstorming, as we can see here, no? And they are still brainstorming the name of the project. It's a project that is in an early state, but in the same forum, there is people that already has a really well-established village host. And for example, it's nice that if you realize like, okay, there is people that already are doing, for example, ceramic, or they are selling crafted, homemade cheese or wine, and you are doing more or less the same, you can talk to them and ask them why, which kind of activities, resources, etc., have worked for them, so maybe they can also work for you. So you can show all of that. And for example, here, Justine was answering like, hey, this sounds really interesting. Justine was also part of the partners, one of the associated partners of the project. So basically, this is a space for presenting yourselves, different topics, tools. I also was commenting, this is me. And another thing, so I will invite you to just, you can go to platformvillagehost.eu, and you can, we will show a QR code, so you can just go there and quickly create and use it. And with a password, you can also always leave the platform if you don't find it, if it's not what you want, but you can explore it really, really nice. And also there are spaces for resources. For example, if we go also to stories, we also have the manifesto, competences, news, all the things, and this is the platform that integrates all the information. But another interesting thing that I really like, and this is when people call us also geeks, is that all the platform is basically, it has MIT license, so it's basically open source. So people, here you have the code, for example, the file of the specific technology we used to create the platform. So other communities can use this configuration file. This is using a special technology called Docker that basically creates small containers for the software. And it's really easy, I'm quoting, because there is always this discussion of how open is the open technology, but it's sort of easy to take this, and if you know a little bit, you can configure yourself and you can use the same infrastructure for another project. And what it creates something like this, but there are other components in the software, but you will have a basic a basic infrastructure to configure, no? To add maybe plugins, these kind of things. So we have this. It is also on this website, which is basically is Massimo's GitHub. So you can also go there and check the Massimo's work or the platform, all the configuration installed, how it's the installation. There's a description of the installation, and basically, if I can move forward.
Slideshow.
Yay. So this is the what I've been talking about. These are other users. So we have all the members of the partnership. They have accounts. This is the forums. We can see different topics of discussion. The map, the GitHub, and here is the QR code that you can just try and test the platform. So I'm going to let it there for a sec.
So while you check the platform, we can
Johnny's experience of.
Couple of things more we can add in the forum, in the platform. For example, there is one specific place for talking about the toolkit, the toolbox. So for example, if you want, say, change this or modify, we have a discussion with everyone, but also for the platform itself. Because yes, we have GitHub, but it's very technical. But for anyone that doesn't want or need or has the ability to work on the technical development, they can ask for improvement, they can share the experience. So that was really that this is something for the community. So at least we created the basis for discussing more and more with the community. Okay, you can check the platform now if you want.
Create the forum. Multiplier event Elisava, maybe.
There are a lot of things that you can see also without logging in, but for interaction in some sections are only when you create an account, so you can see a bit more about how things can be done. And I think in resources also, you can download the toolbox itself. You can see some forums, but of course you cannot interact until you log in. And that's the home, and you can create an account to log in.
The question is not really platform related, but as well as co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program.
So the Erasmus Plus funding program is quite big. There are different kind of formats. So some of them is individual mobility, some other goes to policy. The parts where we work at is basically about improving how organizations cooperate. And in this case, it's about professional vocational education. Because a lot of these villages, they already studied or they didn't really study. So it's not really because to be something specifically inside the university, but it's a postgraduate thing or for professional. So in the way this was done, basically, an organization got together to discuss, what would be the things that were interesting for each of us, how to address the topic. And in Erasmus Plus, typically it's about education, so competencies in how to improve this. So the focus was specifically on that. And other things that, for example, they're not specifically for education, but they support education. So the platform, a big part of the platform was for doing for the online training. And then now there is this part for the community and other things like a manifesto, which you will see a bit later, but you already have also in the welcome pack. It's not for education itself, but it is for building the community, and then this education is really for supporting the community.
I understand this Erasmus Plus was 22-23.
Yes.
So what's next, what's now, what's happening with the project?
We don't know yet, meaning we have been discussing, of course. Personally, I will say this is important that now for at least 1 year or something, the community work more and discuss, because we could propose other funding, we could do other things, but I would really like the community to take a bit of part in discussing where to go next. Because I've seen also in the past, for like 18 years, I've been working in the maker movement as a maker, but also as a researcher. And then, of course, we could do a lot of research and initiatives, but if the community doesn't get involved, it's not really interesting. It's not really impactful or important. And since you have very specific needs and profiles, I think it's important that people start to discuss more of what has been done so far and try to understand what to go next. Because so too many times people see this as, oh, this is very nice money, so we go from one proposal to another, which you can do also, especially if you're very lucky. But also, like, don't forget that you need to also build and use the results. So in this case, for example, I think there could be at least, I don't know, summer schools or other edition, because we already have the training content. I'm trying to establish a bit more of the community, and then it could be a lot of other possibility to be done. For sure, at least we have the training content, we have the platform, we have the manifesto, the toolbox, things that can be used by Village Hosts. And the idea also, one of the ideas of the platform was to put in contact all these people together so you can learn from each other. We don't want to be the middleman that you have to go through for doing things. The idea is you connect directly. So for example, one thing you can do in the platform, you can also send messages to each other directly. Of course, these are features that you can find everywhere, but if you are on Facebook or Insta, whatever, you need to look for who are the Village Hosts there. So this is a place where you can find everyone and learn from each other directly. A couple of things before the break, and then we have the experts. So one of the things that we're finalizing, and this is a very early preview, but we are working on an handbook. So in the handbook, we'll compile also all the tools and things we've done in the last 2 years. So it will include a toolbox, but also other tools that we've been developing. So it's something that you can download and say, okay, how can be a Village Host? And it's a resource that you can read for doing all of this. So all the background, the purposes, the tool and things, it's a bit more of an explanation of the project. And then there is a manifesto. Here you have only the recap, the abstract, but you will find in the back the full thing. And actually the one that you have is the Spanish translation. We are translating it to each language, at least of the country. So we don't have a thing now, at least the Serbian translation, but there will be one, the Polish too. And this is it's not a typical manifesto, which is just one page, so it's more pages, but it's a concise way for understanding, where the Village Hosts. And I think this is also very useful when you need to communicate the possibility of Village Hosts everywhere, especially in the small villages. Because you can go and bring a toolbox or talk about the platform and videos on YouTube, but if you have this, and show to the local mayor, to the local shops, associations, and people, it's something quick that they can read and understand. So that's why also each country translated to its own local language, so it's easier for distributing and spreading the content.
So now we have arrived to the experts panel part of the event. As we said in the beginning of the event, we wanted to connect our project to other projects to see how rural social innovation connects in different ways. And we have here 3 people that will explain 3 different projects developed here in Elisava. Kim Espet will talk to us about change agents, and he will join Dana Esparza to talk about InterCrafts, and then Albert Hussein will talk about rural social innovation in general. So please, you can, I don't know if the 3 of you want to join me or just join one at a time, as you wish. It's a panel, so.
Lista sí. Okay, so thank you everyone for having me and us to share these projects. I will talk briefly about this project that we are currently developing with several partners, and which is called Change Agents Blueprints for Interinstitutional Collaborations in Social Design, which is an Erasmus Plus project. And it's a 2-year project, and will end at the end of 2024. So we are kind of in the middle of it. And it's led by MOME in Budapest, and there's 5 more universities involved. University of the Arts in Berlin, ECA in Tallinn, University of Bolzano, Shankar, and Elisava. We also have 2 associated partners. That means that for one of the work packages, we are collaborating with these institutions to do the implementation of a pilot that I will explain a bit later. And those are Cooperative Social Office in Avispa and the Democratic Society. One is in Italy and the other one is in Germany. And this is a project that is related to the Social Design Network, which apart from these universities, host several other institutions and researchers that related to social design. So here at Elisava, it's Ariel Gersenzweig is principal investigator, and me, I'm also collaborating in the project. One of the main objective is to theoretically create these lasting infrastructures of collaboration. But what it really means in a nutshell is that we are looking for how to improve collaborations between higher education institutions and NGOs and third sector representatives. So kind of mapping how we can improve these relationships. So there's some content that it's cut, but it's okay. This is more the bureaucratic priorities of the project. But the project started with identifying that higher educational institutions would benefit from guidance to develop this kind of social design projects that bridge theory and practice. So we have in this part this higher educational institution in mind. Also, the students that are from these institutions need to gain practice in developing social design projects if they want to become agent of change or change agents, as the title of the project suggests. So they can, through this practice, acquire different knowledge and skills. And also the NGO sector is also looking for other ways of doing projects and kind of get some guidance from intersectoral, cross-sectoral collaborations. So the goals of the project are to improve these innovative practices, to develop some pilot actions to check if what we are proposing kind of works or could have future, and then also invite and involve various agents in this process to participate and develop the project with us. So we're kind of getting
lots of inputs from several institutions, and then to promote a more collaborative, inclusive, and participatory practice of design, and also of research for this project. So as mentioned, primary target groups is the NGO sector, the academic and NGO sectors, then the students, of course, and then the communities that are for which the projects of academic NGO are developed. So we are working for a final document that would be a methodological recommendation document, which is a blueprint on how to establish these collaborations. But we will do it also through implementing these pilot actions, pilot actions that involve communities and students and educators and different institutionals within a challenge, so it can inform these methodological recommendations. And also in the process to train these change agents, these students and these teachers and these social workers or whatever, to develop for, other projects in the future. These are kind of the outputs that we will have to come up with, and we just finished the literature review, and now we are conducting some interviews to develop these methodological recommendations, and we are about to start the piloting action in the beginning of next year. This was the kickoff meeting in February, so we've been working since then in the literature review. We've ended up in a kind of a should have been a shorter document, but I don't know how it happened. We kind of reached 90 pages and addressed several topics. It was kind of a collaborative literature review because we asked the partners to propose some readings and to see the topics that they would like to include. So it kind of also was interesting to see how this developed, and hopefully will be published soon. So maybe we will share it through this social design network for sure. So we want to keep an eye on it. It may be interesting. As I mentioned, we are doing this more than 15 interviews to the academic and NGO sectors to gather some cases for studying, and then we will map all the results from the literature review and the interviewing, and also do these cases, doing this pilot. So we will have in Work Package 4, we will have these case studies, that the ones that we have known from the literature review, from the interviews, but also the ones from the project. So we will gather all this information to kind of synthesize it and build this blueprint of recommendations for these kind of projects. And in November 2024, we will have a conference here to kind of end the project, and it's also going to be associated with a special issue of Temas de Design that we are editing, and it's related also to this change agents topic. This was kind of this first and quick overview of the project. That it's I wish I could have more information or more cases to show. Like the piloting would be very interesting to see how it develops, but now we are in a more theoretical part of it, so it's not possible to share it yet. So hopefully in the future. Thank you.
Okay, so So, well, if you have any questions about this project, now is the time. If not, we'll go through with Danai and Kim that will explain intercultural crafts, InterCrafts, something.
Yeah. We don't know the title,
No.
if it's one or the other, no?
Title is-
Yeah.
They explain us better than I did. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for your attention and for the invitation. We are going to introduce briefly what we are doing in this project that we are working together, Kim and myself. And well, it's an Erasmus Plus cooperation partnership project. And the main purpose is to promote the social inclusion of people from migratory backgrounds. And we do it through the activation of cultural and professional exchange between migrants, social workers, and local craftsmen. And what we are going to work is in academic curriculum to make a training program to also to develop new tools to share those skills between those three target groups. And we include the logos of the partnership. And in the team, we are two different universities, one from Barcelona, Elisava, and another one from Florence, the Università Design of Firenze. And we also have two furniture clusters, one from Italy, CSN, and another from Barcelona, Ambit. And we also have three partners that are social entities. Terra di Tutti is the one that is leading the project. It's a very interesting social enterprise that is funded as a cooperative, and they have intercultural workshops with artisans, crafts, and also social workers. They have different workshops of fabric, also serigraphy, and wood. They are also working with the Università of Design from Florence together with projects that work together, students with these three target groups. You can check their website also. Another entity that is working in the project is Elisava from Greece, and it's very interesting. They have a curriculum to train young people that has difficulties to access to the labor market, training them in different skills or jobs. Like you see their installation, their facilities. They have 600 square meters in Athens, where they have spaces to train them in cooking, also in plumbing, wooden workshops, different workshops to help them access the labor market through these technical skills. And the third social entity participating in the project is Terra Vera from Slovenia, and they do different innovation strategies to integrate migrant people in the society. They have things like migrant tours, where migrants develop tours for tourists in different countries, and also other cooperation projects with society and migrants. And for us, it's very interesting to work with these social entities, and with them, we are going to develop the pilots that we are preparing at the moment. So the project started in November from last year. So we've been working this first year and will last during 3 years, finalizing in 2025. And well, as we were saying, this project mixes some needs that the consortium did find around the migratory flows, like needs of inclusion from migrant people, and also to access the labor market, and also from the craft sector that we detected that there is this intergenerational turnover where some knowledge is being lost because they don't have people replacing and acquiring those abilities. And also social enterprise, they need skills to work with all these
the target groups altogether. For this reason, now this consortium, we are working together. Well, we have pictures here from the kickoff of the project that was in Terra di Tutti, in those facilities that the enterprise has on the fabrics workshop, where we were meeting the first time. And we did add some deliverables from the first task, because we've been working on the work package 2, where we started working on this desk research, trying to analyze in Europe those initiatives that could help us and to know each other, that are working with craft, migrant people, social workers. So we did map, I think it was 71 different initiatives from all the territories, and we did this first desk analysis. From Spain, we wanted to share 3 different initiatives, but for us it was very interesting to have the opportunity to meet them. The first one is Andromenas, and they work with people that has difficulties accessing to the labor market, training them with skills about technical skills like repairing telephones, electronic devices. Also, they do digital literacy in price zones, and they are experimenting with recycling plastic and also food waste. We also met with Fundación Roura, that they have a solidarity laundry, also solidarity shop, and also a sewing workshop, and they use those facilities to train people with some difficulties in this training and assessing them to find jobs. And they are very close from here. And the third one was Fundación Mescladís, that maybe you know the restaurants, because they have 3 restaurants in Barcelona, and also they are a cooking school. And it's very interesting also the relationship with art, because they also have a magazine where they show their testimonies, and they do some installation in the public space and use the magazine to share it with the community. After this desk research, what we did was an atlas map, and we picked the most relevant institutions, and we did a further analysis. And at the end, we did decide some criteria to try to understand and learn from those experiences, and to map what are the learnings from the different ones. So, well, for example, we are showing here the learnings from Andromenas, or from Fundación Roura and Mescladís. For us, were good examples of these different criteria. We did share those documents in this second meeting with it in Greece, in Athens. So we had the opportunity also to know the facilities from Odyssea, and it's very impressive how in 1 or 2 years they did grow, and they have a lot of students utilizing those equipments, and they have fundings, and it's amazing. And then we started the work package that we are leading, that is working in this joint curriculum. So we are developing the curriculum, and the first steps working on that was deciding finding also a first literature review that was helping us understand the skills those target groups need. And we started by listing those skills found in literature review, but then we did a second formulary where we share with these social entities that we did analyze in the desk analysis, to try to order for more the most relevant ones for those target groups. And at the end, we had 22 different institutions that were answering this form, that help us reducing the list of skills. And at the end, we did decide to focus on those 8 skills. And from that, we are from those skills, we are developing the structure of the joint curriculum, also deciding between all the partners the methodology we want to use, because for us it's very interesting. All those target groups work together, that it's not only frontal lessons, but we work them to develop group projects where migrants, artists, craftsmen, and social workers work together, and also they visit some institutions that are doing interesting things, working hands-on, analyzing the case studies, etc. Yeah, so well, those are like the last slides that we are working on, deciding what is the curriculum, the content, the structure, because the project is developing this structure, providing also the methods they need to implement this curriculum. And the next step is going to be 3 pilot actions that will happen in Greece, in Italy, and Slovenia, and then refine and check if those method and curriculum is working, and adjusting those the learnings from those actions. Yeah. And in the 4th and 5th of December, it's going to happen the next meeting. So all the partners are coming in Barcelona. So we will utilize this meeting to adjust this definition of the joint curriculum, some of the modules content all together in presence. That is always easy to decide important things.
So if you are interested in meeting any of those, they will be here.
So seeing there are no questions, we'll.
Oh, see?
Oh, yes, there are.
So one slide of
Really? No, that is Panzai. This one?
Yes.
Interesting question.
Yeah. What is your exact question? Like
what are you based on? Why did you select those criteria?
This was a criteria that was already used by Odissea, the partner that lead this evaluation of the of this work package. So they had already this kind of template of evaluation. So we kind of had this criteria and then marked each one of the entities or institutions or realities that we visited. We kind of ranked them with this criteria, but it was also a guide for us interviewing them. So we kind of knew that we had to ask them something about how they manage the language barriers between migrants and social workers, how is their legal status, if they are kind of not, I don't know, not surviving, or they are kind of very wealthy. I don't know, but we could kind of ask, and financial sustainability, all these kind of criteria helped us question things. I asked them things. So that was kind of a preset that we received to ask them and then evaluate them, and to go from this map of, es el mapa de no sé cuántas, ¿no? Y después this map to the end map, which we selected less than all the ones that we identified in the desk research. Then we kind of do this field research with this information. So that helped us a bit as well. I don't know if I answered it.
Yeah, I think I got it. Like it's based on existing research.
Yeah.
Also use this,
Yeah. And also in a kind of for selecting which ones we find more relevant or had more interest for our project. Okay. Sí, ¿no? Eso.
Perfect, thank you again, Dana. Now Albert will join us on stage.
So thank you for inviting me, and thanks for being here. Mine is a different presentation as long as it is not based on a specific research project. It's a reflection on rural social innovation, which I don't consider myself an expert, but I can bring some insights, at least for discussion. First of all, is some kind of conceptual framework that helps us to understand that I think that rural social innovation is a process from abstraction to concretion. So 20th century has been, especially in design, has been a period of abstraction, mass media, standardized production, and so on, hyperconnectivity. And now we know with all the challenges and threats we have related to environment, health, ethics, and so on, I think that we have to focus on a much more concrete approach to things. And I believe that rural environments allow us to have, although they have a huge diversity of layers, to have a limited amount of layers that allow us to understand them more and to be able to bring artifacts, processors, or projects that we can test and then find out what's happening with all these layers related to a city such as Barcelona, to a country. These rural environments allow us to have a limited amount of interactions that we can test and furthermore assess the impact. And then rural social innovation shouldn't only be a place in which we try farmers to work with whoever, or we target this community to move to that other environment, but that can be real test beds that can later on be translated and scaled for further impact. And then from this huge picture, I want to just explain a project I've been working with for a year and a half, that it's in Genalguacil, a small town village in the mountains of Malaga, and that it's one of these white villages of Andalusia, and that since 25 years ago, but especially last 8 years, they have promoted art, and it's really important to understand that it's contemporary art as a media for exploración. Bueno. No, despoblación.
Despopulation.
Despopulation, yeah. In population, okay, for people to keep on being there or coming back. So for me, it's really important, this place that right now, in the last 8 years, it's known as the Pueblo Museo, Museum Village, and had some kind of things over there that we can consider that are in a medium place between handcraft, traditional art, but since last 8 years they've pushed a lot for contemporary art to be this way to change a little bit the migration that was completely, the population was completely decreasing during the last 50 years in this town. So it's really important that they, for example, exhibited in Arco, the most important contemporary art fair in Spain, and they are working with curators, with the typical curators we would know in any art gallery or museum in an important city, and they promote them to bring specific, site-specific projects that artists have to work in the place in the village. So this is not the typical huge place they have in the country and they tell Marina Abramovich and whoever more and James Starrell to bring some pieces of art, some artworks there, but they want the artists to be there for 3 or 6 months and develop site-specific projects that connect communities, the territory, legacy, and so on. And really at a high level, as in this world, well, sorry for the name back there, this one, for example, this one that was presented in Arco worked on minery and the colors of minery and the interaction between what we extract from the earth is connected also to how we understand our existence and so on in a really, really good mood. Some others were related to the leaves that were eaten by insects in the environments of Penalguacil. So they are a really high level in terms of conceptual reflection related to art. And this one was, for example, related to cal, to one of the minerals with which they paint the facades in these villages. And they had this exhibition in the museum in Penalguacil that not only had some artworks from artists, but also had these interviews with the communities. Working with Cal was especially important for women, was a quite genderized activity. And then they have all this reflection on what do they mean for them as an identity, as a community, the relation with the environment and so on. So I think it's really important to understand how this small village in the mountains of Malaga is approaching this real innovation, focusing on contemporary arts, which is not that typical. We're so used to work with natural fibers, with cork, with ceramics, but no, they are working with high-level curators in really cutting-edge proposals with the community, always with the community, in the territory, and increasingly working on a sense of heritage, but not only urban heritage or architectural heritage, but all this social heritage they want to promote through these activities. We've been working with them for 1.5 years, and right now the Norwegian Technological University in Trondheim is also joining, but it's important that they are joining from the filmmaking department. So again, it's enhancing the importance of these artistical practices in the approach to this rural social innovation. And at the end, I just wanted to reflect on the idea of rural labs, that it's something that I think it's quite important. I don't know, sorry, this caption is wrong. Es un PowerPoint, no me equivoco. Okay, this caption is wrong because this is not the next slide. This is Atelier Luma, which is in the mouth of the road river in Apple, and it's a space for creativity and design-led innovation that is reflecting on the connections between human beings and the territory from a really cutting-edge also approach. So this understanding of how we have to focus on specific areas to understand new connections and to question and promote changes in these connections. This is another example that it's a master they are running in a remote island in Ireland, in these Shetland Islands, and it's a master by the Technological University in Dublin, and they work on art and environment, and they are also promoting an active connection with environment and a shift on some reflections related to how we understand distance, remote environments, rurality, and so on. This is closer. This is in Valldaura. It's a campus they have in the Institute of Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, and they have this Viral Self-Sufficient Lab, which I think it's also a great example in which measure we have to change our approach to what is not urban and understand that we can research in these environments and bring some insights that can be meaningful not only for the territory but also for urban environments. And this is the last one, which is a Highlands and Islands campus of the Glasgow School of Art in Scotland that once again understands how working in a remote place doesn't mean to be working in a huge distance from where things are happening, but to really change a little bit what we've been doing for quite a long time. So to summarize, I would like to highlight this importance of finding out this network of local connections. Digital technologies allow us not to pass through cities to do everything. So I think that there's a huge opportunity for a digital network and a strong connection between these rural labs. Again, not only to understand their specificities, but to promote these experiences to be translated to different contexts and also to scale on wider impact, and mostly to shift a little bit the flow of knowledge that we've been taught that comes from cities to rurality. So the good things happen in the cities and then arrive to urban environments in a few months or years. I think that with all the challenges related to environment, health, ethical and social dimensions, we might be able to change this flow and to promote this concrete approach to things, to bring knowledge to the community. Because again, and just to conclude, I believe that these places are excellent test beds to understand our world-making processes. That means to understand how human and non-human interactions finally bring what is happening around and how the world is. So that's it. Thank you.
Is there any questions for Albert?
I wanted to ask more in general if anyone here is very interested in one of the projects that you, and if there's a way to support, or like if we can, I don't know, reach out to the people that spoke here.
Of course.
Okay, I would like to.
Here we are.
Yeah, from our part, yes, of course, through the platform, through the website, you have our contacts there. And I'm sure Danae and Jim will be also happy to assist in any, like if anyone is interested, and of course Albert.